Oh my god. You whores. I ain't never seen a pair of cats eat so much. God damn. Ay, ay, ay. Let's get banned, y'all. Hey, Gemma. What's up? Guess what? I don't know. What? You getting pizza again? Oh, you have a job now. That's cool. Where are you working? And I guess you don't have to tell me on a live stream, but yeah, we'll have to catch up over Discord. Oh my god. I hate it when my fucking foot is itchy. Oh man. But I have had my fucking feet in shoes all fucking goddamn morning, night, and everything, so I guess that's to be fucking expected. And it starts to hurt. For me, it doesn't start to hurt, it just gets overstimulating. It's just like, eventually I just start to feel like it's the only thing I can think about is how fucking itchy my feet are. It's not like I've got, like, I don't have athlete's foot or anything like that. I swear, I just get itchy as fuck sometimes. And especially on my feet. Especially there. Tried to do a stream this morning, but it literally went nowhere, so I was like, well, fuck it. I boarded out of that one. Two tails? Yes. Two tails. Toodles. Two towels. Two tails. Anyway, what's going on in the world today, y'all? God damn it. You saw the notification after you woke up? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they stick around even after you end a stream. It just wasn't going anywhere, so I was like, fuck it. Oh well. Sometimes the stream is just like that. Sometimes you're just not able to get the magic started for whatever reason. At least for me. I assume that that's a problem that occurs less and less as you get more subscribers. But it's still a problem for me at this point in time, right this second. Anyway, what are we going to talk about? Let's talk about something. Anybody in the chat? Come on. Hit me with it. We could do some Christian concern trolling. That's always a good one. We could have a long and arduous political conversation. Those are always fun. Harris's strongest voter. Ugh. Ugh. No, sorry. I can't bring myself to vote for a cop that is hated by her constituency and roundly rejected by the rest of the country as well. Maybe if Kamala Harris had some leftist policy that she planned on enacting at some point in her hypothetical presidency, maybe I could support her at that point. But considering the fact that Kamala Harris is literally a Republican in a blue tie, I don't really have a whole lot of interest in voting for her dumbass. No, I can't do shit for you, bro. I can't do fuck or all. Oh man, chat's just gonna be fucking nonsense tonight, isn't it? Bendiciones desde República Dominica. Buenas noches. Yo hablo poquito español. Mucho gusto. O's the boast or whatever. You're just gonna get banned if you keep begging me to do some shit. This is my fucking outbuilding where I come to smoke and hang out. Chill the fuck out. You ain't my mama. You ain't my son. You ain't my fucking sister. So shut the fuck up. Igualmente para ti. No comprende. Lo siento. Will Trump is doing everyone a favor. Man, I'm fucking 5 words into the sentence and I have no clue what this motherfucker is trying to say. This is political discourse in the modern day. Dumb motherfuckers that are too stupid to know how to even write the shit that they believe in, much less argue it. But let's try anyway. Will Trump is doing everyone a favor. He's keeping us out of wars. Joe Biden, for some reason, wars, Joe and Biden are all capitalized, didn't do S apostrophe, or I'm sorry, asterisk. Those are all asterisks. When he was in office, what benefits did he make for this country? Liberals will always lie. That can't even figure out how to type out a fucking curse word like a grown man or a grown-ass woman or a grown-ass human being in a fucking live stream. They think they've got to censor themselves everywhere they go because they're fucking 12 mentally, right? And it's a motherfucker that thinks just because somebody doesn't like Trump, that means they automatically have to be all in love with Biden, right? God, you dumb motherfuckers have been trained so fucking well by the mainstream media, huh? So fucking well by Greg Gutfeld and fucking Tucker Carlson and all of these other right-wing media dorks, right? So fucking well. You see someone with a pride flag, without ever having a fucking conversation with them, you just assume they must be a Biden voter because that's what Fox News tells you, right? Because that's what whatever political commentator you listen to all the time tells you, right? Tucker is mainstream. Tucker Carlson began his career as a fucking commentator on Fox fucking News. Fox News is owned by Rupert Murdoch. Rupert Murdoch is a billionaire who made his billions manufacturing consent with the mass media. So yeah. Tucker Carlson is mainstream AF, bro. Tucker Carlson's about as mainstream as you get. I forget. Shit isn't mainstream when it agrees with you, right? When someone's got a narrative you like, then they're not mainstream. They're independent. Even if they're billionaire funded. Good old Ben Shapiro claiming to be independent despite the fact that he's funded by fucking fracking billionaires. Ain't that some shit? Bro, your fucking trolling is unwelcome here. You're too retarded to do it, and I'm not gonna cotton to your dumb ass. The only trolls that get to stay around here are people intelligent enough to come up with something original. So unless you're about to hit me with something that's actually gonna make me crack a smile, I would just shut the fuck up like the little bitch you are. I got news for you, dude. You look like Jabba the Hutt's sister-in-law. Well, at least you got her gender correct. I applaud that. Although I have to say, that's not the opinion your mother had when I was fucking her last night. When I was in your mom's bed last night, she had a lot of things to compare me to. Jabba wasn't one of them. But hey. Good one. Well, Phoebes, they did say they're trans. Who? Who? Mr. McLibtard? I can guarantee you Mr. McLibtard is not trans. I don't care what they say about themselves. Are you a boy or a girl? I am an enigma, a mystery, a breeze floating through the wind, a scent in the air, a feeling in your heart. I am inevitable. That's what I am. My bad, just read the name. Yeah. You gotta fucking... That's the thing. I will tell you, as a person who is long experienced with trolls and dumbasses, you have to fucking consider the totality of their interaction, dude. You have to consider the name, the fucking context of the shit that they say. You have to consider everything. Would you rather... Oh my god, dude. This is retarded. The word Negro is not something you have to trick people into saying. Nor is it something you have to censor on YouTube. So I don't get why everybody gets so fucking hung up on it. Dude, you didn't have to type out a weird riddle to get me to say the word Negro. Because I don't think the word Negro has racist context outside of racist context. Just like the word nigger doesn't have racist context unless you put it there. Just like the word spick doesn't have racist context unless you put it there. If you're just saying, for example, the sentence, Nigger Jim is a book in Mark Twain's, Nigger Jim is a character in Mark Twain's book, Huckleberry Finn. That is a sentence that contains the word nigger that is not a racist sentence. And it turns out there are all kinds of sentences like that all throughout the English language. So unless you're using it to insult somebody, I'm afraid it's just a word. Kiwi Farms is going to have a field day with this one. Dude, I wish Kiwi Farms would take my ass up. I wish Kiwi Farms would decide that I'm consequential enough to make an article about. It would probably send me enough people to get my watch hours up over that threshold I need to make monetization. So I hope they do. You think I give a fuck about a Kiwi Farms? How old are you, it? See what I mean when I say the internet is just fucking tragically and terminally retarded? See what I mean? Go Trump! Go Trump! Daddy Trump is gonna make it all better! Okay, bud. Trump ain't even the president, dude. You're a moron. Elon Musk is the fucking president. Are you serious? You think you got Trump up there? Go watch that fucking press conference where Elon Musk's little fucking curtain climber is running roughshod all over the Oval Office. And make note of the fact that Donald Trump is seated and Elon Musk is standing. Donald Trump is a backup to Elon Musk's speech in that press conference. So you don't have President Trump. You have President Musk. The weird South African hippie dude that lives in a tiny house has like 5 different kids by 5 different women, and who is most famous for his electric cars. How about that? That's your actual president. How many genders are there? Gender is a social construct that is as malleable as clay. Sorry that I have to be the one to inform you. Gender means a different thing now than it meant 100 years ago. And 100 years ago, gender meant a different thing then than it did 200 years ago. And 200 years ago, gender meant a very different thing than it meant 200 years before that. Turns out gender is a constantly mutating construct that we have no firm or consistent definition on, because it is just that, a psychological construct, about as meaningful as a cloudy day. The only reason trans people exist is because there is a fucking impulse, for whatever reason, in Western society to rigidly demand the expression of 1 to 2 gender norms. You can either be one or the other, and that sort of rigidity is exactly what creates people who cannot stand to continue living as the gender they were assigned at birth, because it's a rigid, imprisoning thing. It's like choosing to live your entire life in a jail cell if you don't happen to luck out and identify with the gender that you were born into. And honk honk has arrived. Well, finally, there's someone of reasonable intelligence and self-awareness in here. I was hoping somebody would eventually show up besides Gemma that's got a brain cell or 2 rattling around in their head. Anatomy. Did you know that there are like literally endless hundreds of different anatomical configurations for a human being in regards to their sex? Have you ever heard of the word intersex? There are people born with vaginas and uteruses and testicles. There are people born with testicles and a dick that have breast tissue, and in some cases, a womb hidden off in there that's just not connected to anything. There are women born with a vagina, but no womb. It's a condition called it's a horrible name, Mayer-Rokitansky-Kuster-Hauser syndrome, MRKH for short. Go look it up. There are cis women born every day who are completely incapable of having kids ever in their lives. They were born with a vagina, but they were born with an intersex condition that makes their sexuality or their sex just a little bit more complicated than the average person's. As it turns out, sex, even sex, which we all like to look at as this very well-defined thing that's got a black and white definition, is way more complicated to biology than people want to give it credit for. It's just the way it is. I didn't make it that way. Me as a trans person, I didn't make it that way. It is that way. As the great Vosh once said. Yeah, I mean, I guess I do need a shower after fucking your mom all day. I mean, it does get a motherfucker sweaty, that's for sure. Ha, motherfucker. Get it? Because I was fucking your mom all day? Okay, I really dislike all the negativity, so before looking off, I'd just like to say, Phoebe, I think you look really femme and pretty. Oh, well, thank you. I read that a bit dismissively at first because I wasn't sure what the tone of it was going to be until I got to the end, but thanks, I appreciate it. I don't know that I look that pretty right now. I mean, I just got off of work and I'm, decompressing in front of a stream, so I don't know how pretty I am, but I appreciate the compliment regardless. It was a hardcore burn, wasn't it? You used the men's or women's restroom? None of your goddamn business. How about that? None of your goddamn motherfucking business. Help showing those teeth? You want a clearer vision? Yeah, sorry, my mouth isn't full of chiclets. I know that that's the popular fashion of the day, is to have your mouth look like it's literally packed full of snow. But as it turns out, human beings who actually have a life get a little bit of yellowing on their teeth. I will tell you, my teeth aren't nearly as yellow as they look in this light. You'll notice if you pay attention that the way that the light is in this room lends weird colors to different things. Why do I want to make some argument about how I'm probably a predator? That's what it is. Despite the fact that trans people are far more likely to be raped in a public bathroom than to ever rape somebody. That's the fucking truth. I know conservatives are not comfortable with the concept of truth, but the reality of the situation is, I'm sorry I have to talk to you like a toddler, but apparently I do. The reality of the situation is, people like me, trans women, are far, far and away more likely to get raped in public than to ever rape at all, period, in general. So you freak all those poor women out for your own self-validity? Number one, you're a moron for assuming that you know what every single fucking woman on the planet feels at every moment in time. That makes you a self-righteous dolt who is psychoanalyzing the entirety of humanity to fit your fucking bigoted narrative. Okay? That's the first thing. Number two, you have no fucking idea what bathrooms I use, or if I even use public bathrooms at all. I could be one of the many people in this country who holds it until they get home or gets to a private restroom. Or I could be one of the many people in America who finds a private restroom in one of the many businesses all over every little small town in America that have private restrooms. See? Gemma, by the way, is far more reflective of the average fucking cis woman in this country than the bigoted bullshit that people are constantly throwing in my chat. Just saying. Whether I do or do not currently use women's restrooms is none of your fucking business, but I will tell you this much. I have been in enough female gendered public restrooms to know that there's not some giant cadre of people who are made uncomfortable by it. You know the people who are made uncomfortable by it? Closeted fucking queers. Closeted queer people who see someone like me living their life and expressing themselves openly and is really fucking jealous because they can't do that. Being trans is not a chemical imbalance. You're fucking retarded. You're fucking retarded. There have been studies that have proven that trans people's brains, more often than not, resemble structurally the brains of the gender that they identify with. Which means, structurally, there's about a 98% chance that I have a female brain. And given some physical health issues that I have, there's a very good chance that I actually do have two X chromosomes. Now, granted, I'm probably XXY, but still. You're using queer as an insult? No, I'm using queer as an identifier. Closeted queer people is an identifier in that sentence, not an insult. I don't think they're fucked up for being closeted and queer. I think they're fucked up for being closeted and queer and thinking that they've got the right to bully everyone in a bigoted way because they aren't making the same devil's bargain that that person is making. You ain't no Hermie, yeah, because you know, right? Because you know me. Dumb motherfucker. You literally don't know fuck or all about me, other than what you've been able to deduce in the last 25 minutes. But you're gonna sit here and talk like you know everything about me. Can we get rid of don't comply? All the other morons can stay, but don't comply needs to get the fuck up out of here. I'm sick of his self-righteous bullshit. They don't have the right to be uncomfortable. I never said they don't have the right to be uncomfortable. I said that they aren't uncomfortable. I know it's hard for morons like you to listen for more than 5 seconds, but let me give you a piece of advice. And it's a piece of advice that most people figure out in the fucking 3rd grade. If you just shut up once in a while and listen, you might learn something. Nobody's ever been uncomfortable. When the fuck did I ever say that? Get rid of McLibtard too, because they're completely retarded. They're completely incapable, literally, completely and totally incapable of addressing the shit that I say. I'm totally fine with having an argument with you bigoted morons. What we're not gonna do is not respond to any of the things that I say. You passed 3rd grade? I graduated high school in 2016. Graduated Central R3 High School, fucking Park Hills, Missouri. I graduated with college credits, in fact. Did you? Because if the statistics of the Department of Education are anything to go off of, there's a 60 I'm at. I've been at over a college reading level since 6th grade. You want to hit me with another one? Self-righteous douchebag? But did you go to college? I have college credits under my belt. Yes, I do. I went to a vocational school called Unitech in Bonne Terre, Missouri. You can go look that up. And I received college credits for my attendance there, as well as advanced placement English courses that I was in, as well as advanced placement science courses that I was in senior year and junior year. I meant to go to college, but it never ended up working out. I'm hoping to eventually return. Literally, like with you, like what the hell? You never said that. They don't have the right. Yeah, I literally never said anything like that. So to hear that argument repeated back at me like it's mine, fuck that. So yeah, before you assume that I'm just some uneducated dolt who's just come to my own opinions out of the fucking, by fiat of my own ass, no. I'm one of the few fucking Americans who's actually somewhat educated. And trust me, it is a lonely life out here. It's a lonely motherfucking life. Like, literally, I do not mind having this argument. Arthur Morgan, this person in chat, has not been nice through the stream. But you know why they're not banned yet? Because at least Arthur Morgan is replying to the shit that I say. At least Arthur Morgan is engaging in the fucking conversation. What flavor is your vape? This is a French vanilla vape. That's usually what you see me puffing on, honestly. If you see me with this gold vape, it's usually French vanilla. In a French vanilla situation. Sorry. Thanks. I mean, like I said, you've said plenty of reprehensible things tonight, but at the very least, you've responded to the things that I've said in reply. And that gets you far here. That's just how it is. Let me explain the concept of this stream for anyone who doesn't know. When I first started encountering live streaming, the reason I thought it was so fucking cool was because every other form of content requires a little bit of lag between when you give the feedback and when that feedback has any effect on the person making the content. Sometimes it's got no effect at all, sometimes it's got a major effect, but you don't see any of that instantly, right? Live streams present the unique opportunity for people who are interested in a person's content to give feedback on that content as it's happening. And it presents the other unique opportunity for you to have sort of a hangout type of show where you're literally just talking to people in chat. You're having a fucking conversation. You're reading out their chats so that people listening have context, and you're responding to them as if you're having a conversation with somebody sitting around in a room with them, right? That's the concept of this stream. So if a person isn't responding to me, right? If a person is simply not taking into account any of the things that I say, if they're not actually having a fucking discussion with me, then there's absolutely no point in them being here, because it's not going to add to the content. Yeah, they did spell their name wrong. They forgot the R. I have yet to try that one. I'm a minty boy. Yeah, see, I cannot do the menthol heavy ones. The menthol heavy ones are just not for me, dude. They leave me feeling like, I don't know. It leaves my throat feeling weird. I don't like it. Mine is pink lychee and 420. Nice. Pink lychee. Tastes so good. Although it does depend on the type of product it is. Lychee vape juice can be good, but it can also be really shitty. Ugh. No, I'm not a big fan of JoJo Siwa. Do I look like a JoJo Siwa fan? Really? Aren't her fans a little more bubbly? Dude, I heard the worst fucking song today at McDonald's. Yeah, I get it. Fucking fat person eating McDonald's. I know, the most hilarious thing ever, right? And completely unheard of in America. But anyway, I was at McDonald's today, and I tuned into the music randomly, and it was so fucking weird because it was that song. It was REM's worst song, and if you know anything about REM, then you probably already know the one I'm talking about. It was Shiny Happy People. And Shiny Happy People always makes me think of that Fahrenheit 9/11 documentary that Michael Moore did. He's talking about the relationship that Bush had with the Saudi royals. Plays that song. How much you spend on that big back meal? Ironically, I spent about, I don't know, like $10 on myself, and the other 12 I spent on my partner, who is currently breastfeeding and therefore requires more food than I do. I know. A fat person goes to McDonald's and we automatically have to overeat, right? No, I had 5 nuggets, a double cheeseburger, half a large fry, and a sweet tea. Who's your favorite artist right now? I don't think I have one, honestly. Like right now, I haven't been listening to a lot of music lately. If there's a group that I've been going to more often than anything right now, it's been the Dubliners, because I've been listening to a lot of Irish music. So maybe the Dubliners. I would I would say my favorite musician, like overall, for all time would have to be Phoebe Bridgers. I can't think of anybody else I would stick up there. Sweet tea is king. Sweet tea is really good. Especially McDonald's, dude. I don't know what kind of crack they're putting in that shit, but that shit is fucking fire. McDonald's sweet tea is literally something to write home about. It's tremendous. McDonald's isn't as good as it used to be. I remember when it was better back in the day. Dude, I feel the same exact way. Some people will argue with me about this, and I'm like, no, you're just wrong. You're just fucking wrong. Dude, 10 years ago, McDonald's was 100% better. I'll tell you some things that have changed, all right? Let's go through them. Let's go through some things that are better now and worse now, right? So, the Quarter Pounder. I feel like last 3 times I've gotten a Quarter Pounder, I've been like, meh. But that's weird, right? Because 10 years ago, I was also like, meh. But 4 years ago, 5 years ago, it felt like the Quarter Pounder was on top again. Felt like it was really fucking good. So I don't know what's going on with that fucking sandwich, right? The McChicken used to be fucking fire. Used to be crispy and flavorful. They used to have a McChicken biscuit. Now they haven't even got that, as far as I know. But yeah, so but the McChicken used to be way fucking better. The Big Mac, dude, the Big Mac used to be way the fuck better. And I swear to God, the meat on the fucking Big Mac used to be bigger. I know they say they haven't changed the amount. I know they say that they use the exact same weight of beef that they always used. But I don't fucking believe it, bro. That shit feels lighter. That shit is not as filling as it used to be. And they fucking drown it in lettuce now because they want you to get most of your fucking stomach fullness from the fucking empty ass lettuce that costs nothing to grow, you know? Like, God, I fucking hate fast food, dude. I don't, like, on the one hand, I get why fast food is cool, right? I get that it's kind of cool for us to be able to just go out and buy something really quick, right? And that's always been an aspect of human life, too. It's something a lot of people don't realize, but ancient Rome had what would be an equivalent of fast food restaurants. And in fact, most civilizations throughout human history have had something like it. It was called street food, right? And street food is still super common in some areas of the world. And it's basically what fast food is here in America. It's quick, cheap, calorically dense food that you can get on your way to work or back from work or while you're out on the town shopping, right? And that has been an aspect of humanity forever. It's really not that idea that I've got any problem with, but god damn, dude. The strictly sort of like the massive corporatization of our food supply in furtherance of fast food profits and aligning the market towards that has just been such a fucking, it's been such a tragedy, dude. Such a tragedy. Get worse quality products, we're paying more for them, and they taste worse. I can't even do Burger King, but Wendy's is still good. Yeah, Burger King has fallen off like a motherfucker too. Like, Burger King is basically an inedible slop at this point. You know, like, I've had Burger King several times in the last year because my partner likes their my partner really likes their, oh, what is it? The original chicken sandwich, their big long chicken sandwich thing. My partner really loves that, and so I take her out to eat there pretty often. Maybe not that often, but I'd say once a month, once every 2 months, something like that. We'll go to Burger King, and I usually try whatever's going on that's new because, dude, I have had the Impossible Whopper in about I've had the Whopper in about 1 million different combinations, including the Impossible Whopper, and I'm just sick to death of it, dude. I feel like I haven't had a decent Whopper since the fucking Obama presidency. Not that he had anything to do with it, I'm just saying, like, it's been that many years since I've had a decent fucking experience with Burger King. So I'm just like, fuck it. Fuck a Burger King, bro. I will still end up eating there because, like I said, my partner likes their food, and, you know, I'm not the type of person that wants to go around to 1 million fucking fast food restaurants just to get the food for the fucking lunch or dinner or whatever. I hate doing that shit. I hate it. So what I will, unless there's sometimes I'll make the exception, but I generally hate doing that because it's just a bunch of driving, and the people who get their food first are inevitably going to have cold food by the time you get home. It's nah. Wendy's is still good though. Wendy's seems to be monitoring their quality control fairly well, which is good. It does depend on the restaurant though. Wendy's is fire, Burger King flame broil. Bro, dude, no. No. Burger King is not flame broiling their shit anymore, dude. Arby's is the one that really fell off. I don't know. I don't know, man. Arby's, I had Arby's the other day, and I'll tell you this much. Arby's isn't as good as it used to be, but dude, the more I think about it, the more I talk about it, the more I realize how much of this shit has actually gotten worse, and how much of it do we just feel like is worse because we're grown now, right? Everything tastes better when you're a kid, you know, and how much of that is playing into our thought pattern here, I really don't know. But I'll tell you this much. I am one of those people that genuinely likes Arby's, and so I've been to Arby's throughout all their little eras. Including when they had a Philly cheesesteak, which I was like, meh, dude. I had that Philly cheesesteak twice, and I was like, nah. I haven't tried their gyros, but I really want to try their gyros. Gyros. I want to try the gyros, but I have not tried the gyros yet. I cannot do a good Greek accent. It is just not within my purview. It always ends up sounding a bit too Middle Eastern. Just a little bit too Middle Eastern. It does not sound Greek enough. It sounds Middle Eastern. Or maybe a little Indian. But I'm not sure. I love it. Me as a fat person brings up fast food. The entire chat. Let's talk about fast food all night. Man, y'all are awful. Y'all are mean to me, you know that? You don't want to talk about falling off. Boston Market is terrible now, so is KFC. I have actually never had Boston Market, but I will tell you this much. KFC is KFC in my opinion was never yeah, that's what I was about to say. KFC to me has never really been that great. I mean, KFC's fried chicken is okay if you get it fresh. It's alright. You know, like that's my problem with KFC is I feel like everything there is just I. But that's my problem with a lot of fast food. It's like if you really get down to it, there are not a lot of fast food places really putting out revolutionary experiences that could make you think that's actually really cool. That was a really good time. Like let's talk about the ones who occasionally do. Okay, Sonic. Now it's incredibly location dependent, but when you get a good Sonic, dude, Sonic's like going to the fucking fair. Dude, it's got all the good fair food. You know, so Sonic, fucking, that's a cool little fast food style restaurant. Kind of fast food, right? What's another good one? Like, I can't think of the name of it. Popeyes, that's another one. Popeyes has really unique menu offerings. And they feature some, and they feature some pretty bold flavors, right? Boston Market used to be so good. Now it's freaking ass. I've never had it. Popeyes or KFC? For me, Popeyes all the way. Because I feel like there's number one, there's more variety with the sides. I'm pretty sure, and number two, their sides are fucking delicious. Their mashed potatoes and gravy way better than KFC's similar offering. Their red beans and rice way better than anything KFC's selling. Their Cajun fries pretty fucking delicious. I know they've got other sides too. Those are just the ones I usually get. Yeah, exactly. Like it's just Popeyes for sure, but Raising Cane's all the way. I've never had Raising Cane's. People are always talking it up, but I've never fucking had it, so I have no idea what to compare it to. Jack in the Box is not gross, dude. Jack in the Box is not gross. It just depends, right? Jack in the Box is one of those places that's incredibly location dependent. They are not one of those places that has figured out how to master quality control across all the franchises. So, you get a bad Jack in the Box, yeah, you're going to get some greasy, slimy fucking burgers that aren't going to taste no good. But you get a good Jack in the Box, and that shit is fucking on fire, dude, that shit is going to be fire. That shit's going to be fucking great. Their little tacos, those things are delicious. Those things are like beyond repute. You know what I mean? Like, their little tacos are amazing. The sourdough jack, amazing. The fucking, the double jack, great. All the little fucking burgers are great. But then, Jack in the Box has Sonic vibes, right? Because you don't just have to get what's on the fucking burgers and fries menu, dude. You can get some breakfast shit if you want. You can get some crazy, fucking weird ass sides and other menu items. Like you can get egg rolls at Jack in the Box. You can get a teriyaki bowl at Jack in the Box. You can get jalapeno poppers. I'm pretty sure. It's just like all the stoner cravings you could have. I love Jack in the Box when I'm drunk. Exactly. Dude, if you're drunk or high, is there a better restaurant to go to than Jack in the Box? Dude, it's the fucking best shit. I've had Jack in the Box too one time and I fucking loved it. Exactly. It's fucking delicious. I don't know if any of y'all have ever been in the Midwest much, but Runza's amazing. I grew up in the Midwest, but I've never heard of Runza. So maybe it's more regional. I'll tell you guys what a true fucking Midwest and Southern classic that's gone forever now. Fucking Ponderosa Steakhouse, bro. Fucking Ponderosa, dude. Taco Bell is your drunk spot? That's ironic. Runza is a Nebraska thing, but damn, it's so good. Yeah, I've literally never been to Nebraska, and I have no intentions to ever go. I don't know. Is there anything worth seeing in Nebraska? Literally, is there anything worth seeing in Nebraska? If there is, just tell me. I just literally know next to nothing about the state. I know Nebraska's got a lot of cornfields, and I know they raise quite a bit of beef. It's about what I know about Nebraska. Nebraska and Alaska are sisters. Nebraska is a blank page state, nothing to do, nowhere to go. That sounds awful. Although I will tell you, there are plenty of states like that people feel that way about, that's not true of. Like, I met people when I was in New Mexico. Every so often I would meet somebody that had that kind of opinion of New Mexico, and I always felt obliged to tell them, like, man, maybe around here, but I'm telling you, you go down to Albuquerque or you go out to Alamogordo or Ruidoso, I mean, you're going to be drowning in things to do. It just depends on what you want to do, man. But, I've also heard a lot of people say Nebraska is just kind of a fucking blank slate kind of state, that there's not a whole lot there, not a whole lot to do, so. The Neabras River runs through my town. We have thousands of people come to float on tubes every summer. Nebraska made Kool-Aid, though, so you're welcome. Oh, that's cool. The People's Temple thanks you. It's boring as fuck, though, for sure. That's kind of sad, dude. That's kind of sad. But what do you do with some of these places? Like the fucking, another weird thing that I feel like has changed in my life, but maybe it's just a perception that's changed, right? I used to feel, does anyone else feel like the world has gotten, has I don't know how to put this. I feel like the world felt like a much older place, or like the country felt like a much more old-fashioned kind of place. like 10 years ago. When I first started driving, when I first started exploring this great nation of ours and started working and everything, I always got the impression that there were literally untold thousands of miles just filled with basically nothing but the occasional rural household. But since, the last couple of years, I've kind of taken on this more metropolitan kind of view where I'm like, yeah, no. I mean, even the smallest state and the most unimportant states, they've got a little bit of a nightlife in their cities and everything. And, they've got shit going on. I feel like that's just a perception of mine that's changed. I live in Florida. I'd never leave to vacation. Sure, to live anywhere else. Nope. Man, couldn't be me. Could never be me, dude. I cannot stand that kind of weather. I could not stand the humidity even on the Gulf Coast of Mississippi. I cannot imagine what the humidity in like the center of Florida would be. So, Florida is a no-go for me. I would go to Florida to visit like Pensacola or something, but I ain't interested in getting all close to the equator and fucking going down to Miami and Tampa and all this other shit. Fuck that. If I could pick any state to live in, any state in the Union, and I could just pick up my life as it exists now with my little farm and everything, and just pick it up, move it anywhere, New Mexico. New Mexico for me. I never felt more alive than when I was in that state. I never felt more at home than when I was in that state. And the sad fact of it is, I'm probably going to spend the rest of my life wishing I could move back there. Wishing I could figure out a way to make it work. I just don't know how I would, though. Not living the way I want to live. Oh, man. My heart aches for the mountains. I drove through like 20 plus states in just under a week working. What shocked me the most was how many dead deer I saw along the way. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, this country's full of roadkill, that's for sure. I live in Cherry County, Nebraska. We have 3.8 million acres here. Cows outnumber people nearly 40 to 1. We're as close to the Wild West as you can get. Oh yeah, I mean that's the big empty, literally. That's the great big nowhere. I think the tooth of time's been chewing on me. Tooth of time's been chewing on me. Been 10 whole years now, 2 front teeth, 'cause the tooth of time's been chewing on me. Yes, sir, the tooth of time's been chewing on me. Tooth of time's been chewing on me. Now I fall over sideways every time I take a seat, 'cause the tooth of time's been chewing on me. It was like 400 deers cut in half as soon as I got to Texas. Was where it was. Yeah, dude. I mean, like the problem with Texas is that a lot of Texas's roadways have speed limits that are like 75, 85, something like that. And so people will be going, because people will speed 10 over whatever the speed limit is anyway. So people will be going like 100 miles an hour down some of these back roads, and they'll hit a deer so fucking hard that it literally, like you said, rips them in half. Would you all believe it that I'm a 2-hour drive away from the nearest Walmart? I mean, in a place like Nebraska, I could believe it. Like I said, I've never been there, but I mean, if you look at it on a map or something, I mean, there's very few towns of note in that state. And I mean, that is something that people, I think, outside of the East Coast and like the coastal areas, like the populated areas of the country, I wonder if that's something that they think about. Because while I've never been to Nebraska, I have been through Kansas, and I've been through New Mexico, and I've been through Oklahoma, and I've been through like northern Missouri, which I don't think Missouri is not a good example, but well, in fact, Colorado is kind of a good example, like the western half of Colorado. But all of these states share something, or at least share it in in some amount, which is remoteness, where you're just far away from everything. So, for example, in New Mexico, there are huge swaths of the state where if you live in those swaths, you are at minimum 30 minutes away from a Walmart. And usually you're more like an hour and a half away. Because there's just, I mean, like, let's take New Mexico as an example. Just look at that state. It's the 5th largest state in the union. That's massive. Massive fucking place. Massive fucking place. Endless amounts of fields and volcanic fucking, outflow fields and shit between anything and anything. I mean, honestly, if there was ever a state where I think a human being could actually go to disappear, it's New Mexico. There's just endless amounts of land for you to explore. I think that's why it calls out to me so much, is because I feel like I probably spent a collective 6 months there, and I feel like I discovered maybe 0.5% of all the cool stuff to be discovered there. I wish I could live there. I really do. I really do. More than anything, if I'm being completely honest. Not more than anything, but if it wasn't for the unique situation that we're in with this family farm, I would not still be here, probably. I mean, honestly, if it hadn't been for that, I probably would have reoriented my life towards moving there. I just miss it. You smoking DMT or something? Tell me you've never smoked DMT without telling me you've never smoked DMT. That's what I say to that. Fucking kids. Or Joe Bros, more likely. Motherfucker watched Joe Rogan talk about DMT, and now he thinks you remain fucking... Now he thinks you remain competent while high on it. I knew you weren't smoking DMT. Then why did you ask? Why? If you knew it wasn't DMT, then what was the fucking point? Was it like a joke that I'm just fucking too dumb to get? Well, I've given you the chance. Of course, you're going to answer in the affirmative, but I don't think that means much. You would think that Rogan's psychedelic use would push him away from being... Dude, no. No. Dude, I have been to rainbow gatherings. There are right-wing rainbows. Make that make sense. Dude, if you can be a right-winger and a rainbow kid, then you can be anything and anything, bro. It's just the fucking truth of it. The fact of it, it's like I don't remember who it was that said it. I think it was actually Paul when in the conversation that Paul Zigo was having with Dylan Burns when he came on DFF. Paul said something like, you know, you can't just be a bunch of Nazis sitting around getting all high on mushrooms, because, you know, he said something like, if you take a bunch of people who just sit around Sieg Heiling all the time, and then you give them some esoteric fucking psychedelia, then they're just going to be esoterically Sieg Heiling. And I kind of feel the same way. What psychedelics do to you is hugely, hugely dependent on the people you do it with, the environment you do it in, the mental state you've got going into it. And frankly, a lot of people have a stronger will than the mushrooms have over them, if that makes sense. The fact of it is, mushrooms don't change you against your will. Mushrooms, at least in my experience and in my opinion, help to augment human will, help to clarify things. It can do a lot, but it can't just make someone lefty. You know what I mean? Joking. For the well, I mean, well, whatever. Fair enough. I guess that's, you know, like, what is the internet for, right? I guess I can't shit on you too hard for that one, but I hope the reaction was a funny one, I guess. But no, I'm definitely not smoking DMT. For anyone who doesn't know, DMT causes a complete lockdown trip if you take, I don't know if it's the particular kind of DMT I took or what, but if you take like powdered or granulated or whatever it's called, DMT, in like a bowl or something, and you're smoking that shit, it will cause a complete lockdown 10-minute long trip where you don't have, like, you're not flopping around like a fish, but you don't have any control over your muscles. So it's very important that you're sitting down and very comfortable when you do it. It's also important that you have someone around to do it the first time, because it hits you so fucking quick that you often don't even have a chance to set down the bowl on your own. And it's one of those drugs that you can't just snap out of. So you kind of need somebody to take the bowl from you as soon as you start to push it away from your mouth, because literally, like, when I did it, I made it maybe 2 inches from the table with the bong before my friend grabbed it out of my hand. Not like harshly or anything. She grabbed it so that she could set it down on the table, because she could tell I was already, I was already starting to trip. So I just laid back with my remaining muscle strength. And it was the fucking craziest shit. I didn't see any aliens. I didn't have like a blast off experience, but I remember everything in the room suddenly it gave me like intense visuals that reminded me a lot of some intense visuals that I've had in association with LSD, where colors were way brighter, light seemed to lend an undulating quality to everything, and shapes would take form in the room and kind of work themselves out of existence. very difficult to describe, but the weirdest part about the whole experience was that there was another friend. So there's three people, me, my friend B, and her roommate slash partner slash friend, and they were sitting on a couch, like cat corner from us, and everything that they were saying, they meaning this third person, everything that they were saying was not being heard by me. I was hearing their voice, but I was hearing my thoughts. And I could tell because that was like the one thing I had some limited amount of control over. And it was the weirdest fucking thing I've ever experienced in my life. I also know because the subject matter became wildly different as soon as I came back to consciousness. It was about as good as it could get. Well, good. You literally fall out of body, pretty much. Yes, you're not wrong. I know. You know, one could say I've been through the ringer with this shit. I've taken acid well over 100 times. I've taken mushrooms about 7 times. I've done DMT 1 time. I've done cocaine 2 or 3 times. I've done all kinds of fucking opiates and painkillers off and on over the years. The only things I've never really fucked with would be methamphetamine and heroin and fentanyl. Everything else I've had at least one experience with, except for crack. I mean, crack, fetty, heroin, meth, those are the only 4 things that I've never messed with and really don't have any plans to ever mess with. To me, mushrooms don't supply the answers, they supply the right questions. Yes, I would say that that is a good way of putting it. That's a really good way of putting it, actually. Yes, mushrooms, at least for me, they aren't what's answering the question, they are what's asking it. They make me think about things in ways that I wouldn't have thought about them before. They make me open and expressive in conversation in a way that I would normally be a little bit more guarded against, right? There's an old Latin saying, in vino veritas. Well, the truth is, in mushrooms too, there is truth. But it's not the mushrooms that provide the truth. It's one of those weird things, right? The people are always talking about gateway drugs. Well, let me tell you about a gateway drug. Mushrooms are a gateway drug, not a gateway to further drug use, but a gateway to further understanding of your own brain and the brains of other human beings, right? Mushroom use in high enough doses can cause you to experience trips that will lead you to be more introspective, that will lead you to ask difficult questions about yourself, and most glaringly, it'll make you willing and able to answer those questions to yourself for what might be the first time in your life, right? I had stronger DMT or a lower tolerance because, yeah, it might just be a tolerance thing, or it might have been a strength thing. I was told that the whiter your DMT is, the better, and the stuff that I smoked was pretty, I wouldn't say it was pretty brown, but it was like, I don't know, mid in terms of purity. So that could be another thing. But it was still a lockdown, shutout kind of trip for like 10 fucking minutes. I'll never forget coming out of it too, because I was like, all right. And Bianca was like, fuck, I didn't mean to say her name. God damn it. Oh well, whatever. Bianca was like, was like, yeah, baby, you okay? We weren't dating, but she had that kind of vocal style, you know? And I was like, yeah, that was really crazy. I stayed up for a little bit after that, but eventually I had to go to bed because I was just like, man, I feel fucking weird. Because he's your best friend. That's actually really sad. I'm not one to judge other people about their drug addiction, though, so far be it for me to tell you to quit or whatever, but I don't know. I guess I'll never be able to look at opiate addiction the fucking same way. Maybe that's pussy of me, but I cannot help but think about my friend Marceline every fucking time I see someone talking about hardcore opiates and opioids and shit like that. I can't help but think about how close she was to sobriety, you know. Like I said, it's not my fucking job to correct you. You are a grown adult who can choose what you put into your body, and far be it for me to stop that, you know, if that's what you have to have, but I don't know. It's fucked up, but it's life. Yeah, that's even more fucked up, though, isn't it? Isn't that even more fucked up? Yeah, I'll take Oxy over the ability to shit any day. Oh, my friend. If you weren't talking to a fellow junkie, I would have no idea what you meant by that, but I have heard that lubricating your sphincter can actually help with that, though. Like wetting it a little bit. I know that sounds gross, but another addict friend of mine told me that once. I've never tested it, but it's fucked up, but it's life. Yeah, I guess. I fucking guess. Man, this stream just didn't go anywhere, huh? Here we are at an hour, like an hour into the stream, and I guarantee you the stream's gonna have like 300 views when I get done with it. What the fuck is wrong with YouTube tonight? Maybe it's just because I'm streaming so late, dude. Maybe that could just be all it is. Not that I try not to get all hung up on my numbers anymore because they're good and growth is consistent. And, you know, if I made 52,000 views over the last month, I see no reason why I can't make another 52,000 or 100,000 next month, right? And you just stop thinking about it. Think about drug addiction instead. I'll tell you this much. People are always talking about fixing the illegal immigration problem with walls and all this other dumb shit. And it's like, bro, seems like ending the war on drugs would end most of the criminal shit that y'all are worried about instantly. And it seems like there's some other things we could do about the dudes who are just coming over here to work fucking manual labor jobs that white folks refuse to do. But whatever. Yeah, it is, but I have chronic pain. I didn't create opium. I'm just one big pharma lab rat. Man, your mentality is so familiar to me. And it's actually kind of like I don't know how to feel about it, honestly. I mean, that literally sounds like something my mom could have said. And it's not that far off from something I would say, honestly. It's just, I mean, I'm the same way, you know, like I don't, at this point in my life, I no longer have to rely on painkillers regularly for pain, but I still have to, I still have to take a prescription for painkillers whenever I have a gout flare up or a cellulitis flare up or something like that. And it's just one of those things where, you know, I've got other issues too. Like I've got fucked up weak ankles because of I guess because of my childhood and kind of like the tendency that I had to wear shoes the wrong way and shit. And, like, I fucked up my feet during my childhood. Now, you know, every 3 or 4 months or so, I get down. I don't know how else to put it. And I'm like an old lady for 3 or 4 days. I barely walk, barely move. Still too much stigma around drug use for Americans to really support ending the war on drugs. Yeah, and that's so sad to me, too. That's so sad to me because the war on drugs is why that stigma exists. People did not look at drug use the same fucking way before the fucking, before the politicians in this country that enacted the war on drugs, so the Nixon administration, basically, and, you know, neo-lib administrations before him. It wasn't really until the 50s and the 60s with the return of soldiers from World War II and the big, like, the kind of massive advancement in technology and medical technology and everything that happened between 1945 and 1970, right? Before that, I mean, drug use was not like, it wasn't like it was like condoned by every human being. I mean, obviously there was a lot of, you know, like the Puritans were not pro drug use and shit. So, but you know, generally in American culture, especially out west, drug use was kind of seen as like a little bit par for the course, you know. And even out east, nobody looked at marijuana as a fucking hardcore drug until people started grousing about it in order to fucking get back at Mexicans, basically. Mexican racism is why cannabis is illegal, and it's why cannabis is sometimes referred to as marijuana. You ever have you ever wondered why the why everyone or why the state and so many people use the Spanish word for cannabis to refer to cannabis when it has a perfectly well accepted English name? Well, the reason is because of anti-Mexican racism. By calling cannabis marijuana and giving it a strange and unique and foreign-sounding name, they could more easily associate it with the Mexican people that they were attempting to target with the legislation that would address rampant marijuana use. So there you go. Cannabis is illegal because the fucking people of the 1930s needed a way to police the fuck out of Mexicans. And what do you know? Mexicans coming from an area of the world that grows weed pretty fucking easily smoked quite a bit of weed. I understand my bones shift and have degenerative changes. I also couldn't tell you how bad my back is fucked up, caused me immense pain. And here, let's add to the tragedy too. Do you still work? And if not, how many years did you break your body on the wheel of capitalism? Despite that, or causing that, how many years did you, if you currently still work, how fucking long have you been breaking your body for profits? And if the answer is, well, I don't work anymore, then how long did you for your body to be as broken as it is? I am genuinely curious about the answer. in before this person comes back with me and they're like, I've never worked. It's like, oh, well. Never mind that point then. Damn, I wonder if they're still in the chat. I work 40-plus hour weeks, have been for 11 years. I'm only 27. Been a food server for just under 9 years. And I make pretty shit money, so that adds salt to the wound. Ending shit sometimes feels like the only way. I'm not the type of person that'll ever catch a lucky break. Some might look at the comment that you just made and say that you're trauma dumping, and maybe they would be right. But I'm going to reach out an olive branch because you seem like a desperate person. And I don't mean that with any insult. Please don't take it that way. But I want you to know that I felt the exact same way. And maybe not the exact same way. I'm not suicidal anymore and haven't been for a few years now. But I'm your age. Maybe a little bit younger. I'll be 27 this year. So, but I was starting to feel very much that same way a few weeks back. My kid was being born, and I didn't even have the money to buy myself and my mother-in-law, who was staying with us at the hospital, some food. I was able to borrow some money from friends and stuff like that to be able to get some eventually, but I felt so pathetic because I work a pretty shitty fast food job that's not going anywhere. I could, in theory, work for a promotion, and honestly, my understanding is that if I wanted to be promoted, it's out there for me. But I really don't, because I don't want to have to work in a job that I can already tell I do not want to do forever for 10 years just to be able to get what I'm about to be making at the job that I just got. And that's what I wanted to bring up, right? So I felt the same fucking way. I felt like I was at the end of my rope, like I was watching my hopes and dreams be dashed in real time. And at first, it almost was like, fuck it, just give up. Like, what are we even gonna do? Let's just, for me, give up meant let's just keep sallying forward under what we've been doing so far, and let's not even consider other choices or other, plans of action that we might take, other paths that we might go down. Let's just lay down and die, which is to say, let's keep working this shitty fucking, just over minimum wage job, and eventually something will work out. But I stayed in that spot for a day or two, and then I realized, nothing is going to get better. Ultimately, nothing gets better for me unless I put in a hell of a lot of work to make it better. And unless I accept some shit that's going to be scary. And so I applied for the first time. Well, not the first time, but like I applied with the serious intention of following up for the first time at a really big employer in my area. I don't want to say what the name of it is and everything, because I don't want to dox myself. But um, it's it's a company that makes products that most people have seen out in the wild. It's a major fucking company, but it's not like Walmart or Taco Bell or McDonald's or anything like that, you know. And I'm gonna be working in a basically in a factory, but it's like a recycling kind of factory called remanufacturing. So the idea is old equipment, it doesn't need to die, it just needs to be given new life. And so that, like, I'm going to be one cog in that machine, right? And I'm going to be making $6 more an hour than what I make right now, with guaranteed 40-hour work weeks, with the possibility of overtime. I'll be making a vacation day for every day I work, for every month I work. I'll be earning a vacation day. They don't roll over year to year, but fuck it, who needs them to? Um, um, Point is, I got that because I decided I'm gonna get this job come hell or high water, and I had a plan B too. There was an apprenticeship I was looking into, and I was bothering the coordinator for that apprenticeship day in and day out while I was pursuing that. But as soon as this other company or this other opportunity started to present itself more, I jumped fucking head first, and I didn't let my worries or my misgivings or my fears get in the way of me taking an honest stab at it, right? And as a result, I'm about to start on March 10th at a really, really fucking cool job. A really cool job that I just felt exactly like you feel, like I don't get that kind of lucky break. I'm not allowed to. But I passed everything I needed to pass, and my start date is confirmed. And I'm going to be making more than enough to fix all the financial problems in my life and actually start saving up meaningful amounts of money. If I play my cards right, in 10 years I could have enough to start my own business, like a little restaurant if I wanted to. I wouldn't have trauma dumped had you not felt like such a supportive person. Thanks for your words. I'm trying really hard to have positive outlooks on everything. Well, I'm not telling you to have a positive outlook on everything. Lord, no. What I'm trying to tell you is to know that what you're feeling is natural. It's something that happened, and especially you're working a kind of job that breeds what you're feeling. You're working a kind of job that is just soul sucking, right? Um, Depending on where you're working, what the context is, there are some food service jobs where people feel really rewarded by them and people love them, right? And I'm kind of one of those people. I don't feel rewarded by the amount of money I make, but honestly, if I worked at a high class restaurant and I was doing the exact same thing I do now, in addition to like actual hostess shit, I would love that shit. I would love that shit, and I would probably fit right in and be perfect at it, right? Um, that's not true of most people working in food service, though. The vast majority of people working in food service work in either fast food, fast casual, or cheap family-owned restaurants, right? So the type of people that are working those jobs, number one, they're making a minimum wage. Number two, they're hired from all walks of life and all fucking areas of the universe, right? And the lack of cohesion that develops between people when they're working in an environment like that breeds toxicity, breeds conflict, and the stress of the job in tandem with the high turnover and all this other shit tends to make it a hard type of environment for people to really prosper in, right? Just kind of feels like we fight for nothing sometimes. I mean, we don't fight for nothing. I mean, if you want to take it to a cosmic scale, nothing means anything and we're all going to die, and the fucking heat death of the universe means that literally everything you do will be moot for a long enough time scale. But that, are you going to live for that? No. Are your grandchildren going to live through that? No. Human experience will completely end as a concept before the universe does. And while that is tragic and sad, to me, that doesn't produce a nihilistic impulse in me. I mean, it is a nihilistic truth, but it doesn't produce a nihilistic impulse in me. It produces an optimistic one. It produces sort of an overjoyed, like, oh my God, that means I need to fucking make this life as fun for myself and the people that I love and the things that I want to do. I need to focus on that so fucking hard, because none of this means anything in the long term. Like, who the fuck cares if I become some amazing doctor or something and I cure cancer? Who the fuck cares about that if I'm not happy doing it? Because it all comes out in the wash. Human beings are not long for this fucking world on the cosmic time scale. So fuck it. Let me do things that I like. Or at the very least, let me do what makes sense for me, right? And when you realize that, right? When you realize that your own personal pleasure and your own personal well-being is something worth fighting for, you can have a revolution in your life. You are an important person. I don't know you from Adam, but you are an important person in someone's life. Someone looks up to you. Someone thinks about you, right? And I know this all sounds like motivational pap, but it's true, right? People are social animals, and you are not alone on this planet. And your well-being is a noble goal to pursue. The well-being of you, the happiness of you, is a noble goal to pursue. How much of an impact to the food service industry do you think there will be with 80,000 feds losing their income? Honestly, probably not that much of a shock. I mean, it'll be a little bit of a shock, right? 80,000 people is a lot, but you got to remember, there's 300 million something people in America, so that's a tiny number of people. Now I will tell you, a lot of fucking federal employees rely on fast food to get their fucking calories. So will that play a role? I have to imagine it will. Really, what you should look for this kind of thing is not one effect being felt in one industry. Things like this have butterfly effect kind of effects. It's like a pebble being tossed into the middle of a still pond, and the ripples that it produces that bounce off of things in the pond and take different shapes and go different ways and cause little ripples of their own to form, right? This sort of thing is very much the same way. This sort of thing is very much the same way. So what you should look for to happen is butterfly effect kind of things where, so 80,000 feds lose their jobs, right? Okay, well, the fast food industry itself, that's going to be fine. It'll survive it. Like, there are other customers, right? But those feds are also supporting small businesses. And in areas with high percentages of federal employees, that income may be vitally important to the upkeep of those businesses, which may fail if they don't have that little bit of extra reliable income. Those businesses fail, the people that own them are forced to get regular jobs, or even worse, become completely destitute, and now they're either being exploited utterly for their labor, or they're a net negative on the economy, which I hate that a human being can be labeled as such, but like, that's the situation they end up in, right? And you've got 80,000 people who were previously having their lawns mowed professionally because they could afford it, having their house cleaned once a week professionally because they could afford it, engaging a mechanic regularly on their vehicles because they could afford it and because they needed it for work. And now those people have to find other jobs. Many of them are probably going to find it very difficult to find other jobs, especially in the current climate, but who knows, maybe I'm wrong. And so a lot of people, about 80,000, up to 80,000, it's looking like, could utterly lose their fucking asses. Utterly lose their fucking asses. And if that happens, then we're talking about a bigger effect. Because if 80,000 people completely lose their ass, even if we just take 40,000 people, 40,000 people spread across America completely lose their ass, it's not going to have like a massive effect, but it'll have an effect that's felt by local economies, yeah. Just don't look for it to be massive and major in one area. Look for smaller things. Look for little rumbles. Look for little ripples. Look for ripples from this. That's my call. Humans have only been around for like 200,000 years. I mean, Homo sapiens sapiens has only been around for 200,000 years. When it comes to human-like apes, those have been around for about 2.5 million years, I think. Humanity is a flash in the pan. That's why we gotta live life to the fullest, Queen. Exactly. Do you think intelligent design should be taught in school? I think they should teach both with evolution because people should be able to have different opinions. No, I don't think creative design should be taught in schools, and here's why. Creative design is fundamentally it's a faith-based position, right? That is not based on observation of the natural world and a legitimate and honest reflection of that, but rather on an extrapolation on assumptions made about the nature of certain aspects of reality. In other words, it's completely faith-based bogus bullshit. But in the effort to be respectful, right, it's not something that's concrete, right? It's not, number one, intelligent design is not something that's universally agreed upon by the Christian community. It's not like this. I feel like saying, we need to teach both because people need a well-rounded opinion. They need to be able to, make the choice. I think it paints a false dichotomy. It suggests that there is some choice that must be made between either evolution or Christian doctrines that have this as an aspect of it. And that's just very limiting to me. I mean, if we're interested in turning science class into a philosophy class, then why don't we also teach the Greek explanation of how the planet came to be and the Egyptian explanation of how the planet came to be? And while we're at it, we can share with them the Native American versions, all 237 of them, right? All 255 fucking creation myths spread across the fucking North American continent. I mean, are we going to teach every single fucking creation myth out there? If the answer is no, then I'm sorry, but I have to say no. Intelligent design need not be taught in schools. Here's where I'm fine with teaching intelligent design. If you want to teach kids about the different, if you want to give kids a broad overview of the different ways that creation myths kind of evolve, and you want to give it sort of like an academic kind of bent, then I think you could have a philosophy class that covers that, right? But it cannot be taught in science class. Children cannot leave their science class with the option to believe that it was all a magic man in the sky that made it, when you can look around and see evolution happening, right? Why should Christianity not be taught in a Christian country? We're not a Christian country. Go, do me a favor. Go look up the Treaty of Tripoli. This is not me being rude or anything. I'm not trying to do a gotcha. But if you press the home button, the stream should just minimize, and you'll be able to go Google it. And just Google the Treaty of Tripoli and read through it. Parents aren't taking their kids to church anymore. Good. I'm a parent, and I have no plans on taking my son to church. I mean, maybe one of my parents will. I don't know. But I have no plans on it because I don't want to teach my kid about hell, because it was the first thing I was ever scared of. Yeah, and that's a problem. Why? And then their kids, I mean, that's not worse and worse. That's better and better. That means religiosity is dying off in this country, and thank fuck for that. Religiosity is responsible for more death and destruction on this planet than any other single impulse. What if people supposed to believe in if they aren't a Christian? I mean, come on now. You believe in anything you want. People already do that. Have you ever seen the amount of infighting in the Christian church, my friend? Literally, have you ever heard of the Great Schism? There are two different Catholic churches. Everybody thinks the big fucking delineation in Christianity is Catholic or fucking Protestant. No. It's Catholic, Eastern Orthodox Catholic, Lutheran, then Protestant. So even Christianity is just picking and choosing what it believes in. Come on now. So what are people supposed to believe in if they're not a Christian? I don't know. Whatever they want, I guess. I could tell you a few things that I wish people would believe in. The power of solidarity, meaning the power of a person like me and a person like you to stand together, holding hands, singing protest songs, and demanding our rights. The power of friendship, as perfumed as it might be by its associations. Why can't people believe in that? Why can't people believe in the vastness of the universe? Imagine this. Imagine a world where, rather than believing in the limiting, narrow perspective of Christianity that postulates a very simple but nonsensical explanation of how things came to be, what if human beings adopted a massive and broad, sweeping set of personal philosophies? What if, instead of religion, human beings believed in many different things, instead of believing merely in God and the associated maxims of Christianity? What if we believed in the vastness of the universe, in the holiness of trees, in the wonder of children, in the deliciousness of good food, in the power of solidarity? Society needs morals to stay together. There have been 100 different, not 100, there's been thousands. There have been a million different fucking morality systems on this planet. Most of them have not been Christian. Have you ever heard of Islam? Islam currently has more people than Christianity does, if I'm not mistaken. I know I know they were rapidly approaching them for a long time. So there's Islam, there's Judaism, the original Christians, well, the pre-Christians, basically, right? There's Hindus. I mean, there are all kinds of moral systems. And here's the thing. I don't need God to tell me what's right and wrong. I just need to be a person that feels emotions, which I am. It makes me feel bad when I fuck someone over, even if it's accidentally. I feel bad when I get into the right lane and I realize that I kind of cut somebody off. It produces a pang of guilt to me, and I think, oh, I better not do that. You know, I should really watch more carefully in the future. I don't need God to tell me that murder is wrong. I just need that gut feeling I get whenever I watch true crime shit that involves a murder, and I just, how weird it makes me feel to think about someone's life just literally being taken away from them surreptitiously and, you know, like inconsequentially and shit. Like, it's awful, right? I don't need God to tell me that. And in fact, I kind of think it's a little bit reprehensible of Christians to suggest that I should. Are you saying that you wouldn't know that murder was bad if God didn't tell you? Come on now. How do you explain an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth being a fucking Babylonian maxim, right? Not a Christian one. Everybody thinks that that shit came from the Bible. No. That shit came from the Code of Hammurabi. That shit was not originated by the Bible. Believe that you only get one go around? I mean, yeah, hell yeah. How can you teach evolution if we still don't know how it works? We do, though. Like, why there are still monkeys, or how a rodent could turn into a monkey than a human. It's bullshit. Sandra Hastings, are you a Brett Keane alt? Are you a Brett Keane alt? Just be honest with me. If you are, I'm not going to ban you. I'm just curious. Because that's a very specific line of argumentation, my friend. I support you. Well, thanks. So if we're not a Christian country, then why do we have the most churches than any other country in the world? And, you meant and, not then. But, and, why does our money have in God? Can you please learn how to fucking type, motherfucker? Seriously? You make other fucking, listen, I'm from Mississippi, okay? I'm from the fucking deep south. And you are making us look like fucking morons with comments like this, bro. I ain't even talking about the subject matter. Read this shit. Proofread it before you hit the fucking enter button, you moron. Come on, dude. This is illegible. You would not get a passing grade for this if you turned this in on a homework assignment. Read this shit. No capitalization. So, there should be a comma right there. But there isn't, because you're a moron. So, capital S, O, comma, space. So, if we're not a Christian country, comma, space, then why do we have the most churches? I'm going to have to rewrite that whole sentence to make it make sense. Then why do we have more churches, not the most, why do we have more, then why do we have more churches than any other country in the world? Question mark, space. Additionally, comma, space, not then, additionally, why does our money have, quote, in God we trust on it, or I'm sorry, quote, in God we trust, end quote, space, on it, and in this country that we live in is a completely surreptitious sentence. You don't need it in there, so delete it. You could just have ended the fucking comment with, on it, question mark. There you go. I have fixed your fucking third grade level, barely past kindergarten bullshit. Now I can respond to the substance of what you said, now that I've translated it into something basically legible in my brain. Why do we have more churches than any other country? I don't know. Religion is really predominant here. That doesn't make us a Christian country. There is a difference between being a country with a high prevalence of Christianity and being a Christian nation. There is a difference between being a fucking country that is friendly to the open and free expression of religion, which is what we are, and being a Christian country. Don't argue with me, man. Argue with the founding fathers. Argue with Jefferson, who wrote in the Treaty of Tripoli that the United States is in no way, shape, or form a Christian country. We are a secular country, according to that treaty. Christianity is able to groom more people in America without being laughed at? Oh, 100%. More and more scientists are coming out against evolution and saying that a species cannot turn into another species. That's just complete bullshit. That's complete bullshit. I don't know where you're getting that idea. There's not some giant fucking exodus of scientists from evolution. That's just retarded. You know what there is? There are more Christian bullshit grifters constantly saying that evolution is bullshit with no basis or backing whatsoever. Okay, Sandra, I'm sorry, Brett Keane, I'm going to explain it to you in the most fucking cogent way that I can, okay? Evolution postulates a number of things. Number one, that random mutations in successive generations lead to varying conditions in individual phenotypes, right? Varying expressions, some of which benefit those successive generations, and they go on to become standards of that genetic line, and some of which hinder that creature and make it less likely that that trait is passed on. Over time, over immense amounts of time, these changes through successive generations lead to the sorts of massive changes that we see when we look at the broad expression of different genetics all throughout the animal world. The mechanism through which evolution works is called natural selection. What this means is that basically what I explained earlier, right? A mutation in an individual will either hinder it or help it, or in this is the most common case, it'll functionally do nothing, right? So most mutations are what are called benign mutations, right? So they functionally don't do a whole lot. They alter, like the color of a certain ridge of feathers or something like that, or they add, 10% more girth to one digit, and it doesn't really affect anything, right? Most of the time, that's what a mutation is. They happen in successive generations, which means as an animal reproduces, every time an animal reproduces, whether that's a single-celled bacteria or an ape like a human being, every time an animal reproduces, or a plant or whatever, there's a chance for there to be a mutation, right? Because the process of cell copying is not exactly perfect, and 99.99999 whatever percent of the time, the mutation doesn't occur because the replication goes on as intended. But very rarely a mutation does occur. If that mutation benefits the species, then if that mutation benefits the individual that has it, then that individual is made more successful in their breeding attempts, and therefore that individual's trait goes on to be passed to further generations. Maybe it doesn't express itself for a few more generations, but eventually it becomes more and more standard, and eventually it's just the way things are. This has happened with human populations in as little as 10,000 years. So think about that for a second, right? You can tell genetically if someone is German or French because the French and German people have both underwent what is called ethnogenesis, meaning that they are genetically distinct population from Northern Europe or Southern Europe or Eastern Europe or the British Isles. They're a genetically distinct population. And that happened over 10,000 years. Okay? The entirety of human evolution has taken about 2.5 million years. That's how you get from something looking like a chimpanzee to something looking like me. Right? As far as why do we have monkeys? What do you mean? So here's what happens in evolution, right? Evolution is it's basically just a framework under which the development of life goes on, right? But it doesn't have any active will or anything, and there are other factors at play. So a species starts to outgrow its habitat, right? And some of that species decides to try living a little differently, right? They pick up some, in the case of human beings, it was probably that they picked up some weird behavior that chimpanzees don't currently get up to. If I had to guess, and if anthropologists had to guess, it was increased hunting, and increased use of tools, very early tools, and an increased willingness to pursue prey onto the plains and prairies, which eventually favored human beings with, or I'm sorry, eventually favored apes with more dexterous fingers and larger, larger brain sizes. But the real advancement in human evolution came when Homo habilis invented fire. Or actually, it was either habilis or erectus, and I can't remember which one. But when our early ancestors invented fire, that discovery in itself, which was enabled by previous changes over successive generations, right? That change is what enabled us to go from a very primitive species that didn't build things and didn't, wasn't yet fully realized as human as we know it, right? Fire is what allowed us to become that, because it allowed us to get so much more nutrients from what we were eating. And that in itself fostered evolutionary change. Isn't that neat? Sandra, you're not even listening to the shit that I'm saying. I've addressed all of the arguments you've made, and you're not addressing any of mine, so you're about to get very boring. Evolution is a fact to the scientific community, Sandra. It's the complete and only counter to the brainless statements you've been making. Yes, that's 100%. Like, that's the fucking problem. Dude, don't come in here with a fucking agenda and then act like you just want to have a conversation. Just come in with your agenda on your sleeve next time, bud. Just come in and just say, do you believe in evolution being taught in schools? If so, I think that's fucked up, because I believe in a magical man in the sky being a more reasonable explanation. Just say that, bro. You'll feel better. Well, don't argue with Jessica. Argue with me. I'm the one talking. I mean, I'm the one streaming. No offense to Jessica. Like, she's a mod up in here. She's fine. But this content does not work if the people in the chat are having fucking side conversations that I'm not following. And once again, I'm not getting onto my mods. I'm just saying, as a pleb, don't sit there and egg it on. Jessica, you know you don't have to keep this person around at this point, right? I mean, they've already broken the cardinal rule of talking to me, which is not fucking acknowledging the shit that I'm saying. I am not interested in letting someone proselytize their stupid bullshit on my fucking platform. I am not interested in having somebody that is completely disinterested in conversation sit in my fucking chat room. Not interested at all. Come with a fucking conversation or don't come at all. And Sandra, I'm not calling you names by calling you Brett Keane, but you literally just gave me some bullshit that Brett Keane gave me when I talked to him. You really think human brains came from rats? It's like, no, dumb motherfucker. I think the precursor to all mammalian life had a very rat-like form. Probably not even that rat-like, but fairly rat-like. And that form diversified over millions of years into all the mammalian life we see today. And my fucking evidence for that is every fucking bit of biological fucking data collated over the course of time. Like, there's so many different examples that it almost it's like information overload. So there's a salamander in California, right, that over the course of its being observed, right, of its being kept track of, there is a salamander in California that diversified, right, that speciated. Basically, there was one salamander population in California at one time in this particular area. I don't remember what area it was, but due to environmental conditions and spread of the species, there eventually emerged another subspecies, which was at first interbreedable with the first one. But then another subspecies from that one emerged, and that one could breed with the one that it just came from, but not the one before it. That's speciation. That's evolution through natural selection. It's fucking proof. If that can happen to a salamander over the course of a couple generations, enough genetic change to where the sperm and the egg are no longer compatible, then why can't a fucking single-celled organism turn into all the fucking diverse life that we have today? It's got a lot of time to work with. Why is it more reasonable to you that some magic pixie fairy dust man from beyond time came in and made all this shit for fun and pleasure and then just walked away from it? Why is that a more logical explanation? And if it is, okay, who made God then? See, that's the fucking thing. We can turn that around on you guys, but you really can't turn that around on us. Because there's a fucking explanation posited by the fucking Big Bang Theory. It could be an infinitely repeating process that never had a beginning, that doesn't need a beginning. Kitty got bored. I don't blame you. Jessica doesn't have to make the argument because she's not the streamer. Exactly. It should be me making the argument and them responding to it, but it's just like pulling teeth to try and get people to respond and interact with streams in the way that they're fucking meant to be responded to and interacted with. But whatever. What are you gonna do? Who's the next mouse? I don't know, but I hope they're interesting. I hope they're interesting because that was fucking sad. That was a sad showing for the evangelical community. I cannot believe that I just had somebody sit in here for 20 minutes and argue about fucking intelligent design being taught right next to evolution. It's fucking retarded. Some of the dumbest shit I've heard all week. Kids need to be able to make their own mind up. All right, we'll start teaching them Hinduism too, and then I'll be happy with it, I guess. Teach Hinduism and Islam in that same class with the exact same level of reverence, and sure, we can do that. Kids need to be able to make their opinion, right? But see, if you tell them you want to do that in a philosophy class, they don't like that. They don't like that because to them, it's not about kids getting to make their own fucking decision and getting a well-rounded education. It's about children being subtly manipulated and brainwashed into believing their fucking false narrative about the way things came to be and about the way things are now and about how the way things should be. I'm about to head to bed. I have to break my back early in the morning working it up. I'm sorry, my friend. I'll keep tuning in. I'd love to eventually be a mod when the time is right. Well, thank you for not asking about it directly. Thank you for not being like, hey, let me be a mod. You know, I don't empower every fucking person that comes in, but, you know, if a month from now you've been in most of the shows and you've remained pretty cogent and intelligent, good chance you get the wrench. Because I try to keep a well-stocked mod team around here. So there's always somebody to take care of the retards. Because usually we do way better numbers than we've done tonight. I mean, 13 likes and 3 views is fucking horrible numbers for me. Normally I'm getting... Honestly, I mean, likes is not... It's kind of weird that I've got that many, honestly. But normally I would have around, 15 to 20, maybe 25 likes. And, between 50 and 70 active viewers. And, I average around 3,000 views a stream, I think, at this point, over the last 30 days. Maybe not 3,000, but like at least 1,500. So normally it's way more poppin' than it is tonight. Check out my proposal. I sent it to you. Okay. Will do. Will do, will do. Jessica's gonna try to fucking whore me out. I know it. I know what a proposal is, bro. You're gonna prospectus my anus. I don't know if I like that, bro. Maybe I do, though. As I was going over the Cork and Kerry Mountains, met with Captain Farrell and his money he was counting. It's from a nonprofit? Oh, okay. Right on. Alright, well, I'm going to go ahead and get off here, guys. I will see y'all later. Thank you for tuning in. And, yeah, it was a good one.